Good morning and welcome back to Planet Althistory. Today we are going to discuss what if Pokémon never existed. Pokémon is a franchise and a very popular anime that existed already well over 20 years. Oh, I feel so old. Pokémon gained a huge popularity in the end 90s and is still one of the most popular franchises out there. And no, this is not a double what if. I'm not implying that in an alternate timeline, Pokémon really exists like, the creatures. This is a what if that discusses the consequences of the Pokémon franchise not existing. And as you may know, Pokémon games are one of the most sought games in the world. While the anime was pretty popular at the beginning with the first seasons, the popularity of the other seasons, which came later on, in there they started to decline. The Pokémon community is also so huge that fans are nowadays even making their own Pokémon games, so-called fan games. Me included. Yes, I created and I still work on my own Pokémon fan game. Game Freak Studios and Nintendo are very closely linked to the Pokémon franchise. And let's also not forget that Pokémon is currently in its 8th generation. Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola and Galar are regions based on real-world places, such as Japan, the US, France, the UK, and so on. There are currently 898 different Pokémons, and there are Mega Evolutions, regional variants, Gigamax versions. Some Pokémons even have different versions of themselves without being regional variants. And this number could then go up to almost 1,000 different Pokémon forms, let's say. This is pretty respectable, and each and every Pokémon has somehow people who like the design, the moveset, the ability. So you will find fans who like each and every Pokémon, or for every Pokémon there is a certain set of fans who enjoy this Pokémon. And I could bet with you that even non-fans will find a couple of Pokémon whom they will find cool or cute. Pokémon is very often compared to Digimon, and Pokémon was part of a bigger trend, together with Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, the trend of anime, which swept over the globe, and the rise of the popularity of the RPG genre. But what if all of that changed? What if Pokémon never existed? Well, let's divide it into a few segments: the anime, the games, and then also companies related to it, as well as some other details. I want to also say another thing, which is that in this type of alternate history, I will not discuss a point of divergence, as it would be pretty much pointless. First of all, the anime. Without Pokémon, the popularity of anime, yes, it would still arise, but it would never really catch the eyes of the kids between 6 and 10, the targeted group of the Pokémon anime, those that just came out of kindergarten and just started with primary school. This means that after a while, these kids, they may never even be hooked up with animes, and they may just continue with cartoons. Remember when I said that Digimon and Pokémon were very often compared? Well, Digimon is not a knockoff of Pokémon. Let's have this clear, as many people think it's apparently a knockoff of it. But I admit that Digimon and Pokemon, they have similarities, like the principles, some parts of the story, some parts of the goal, the characters. They may have similarities, but at the end, the development is a very different one. Like Pokemon is a journey that continues and it continues. That's why Ash never ages. While in Digimon, we have different seasons, we have also an end to it, and there was even a movie just like very recently, some months ago, where the Digimon of the Digimon tamers disappeared because they became now adults. So the development in here, as you can see, is a very different one, and I think this is also a very crucial point. In Pokemon, it is also normal to have different Pokemons in your team. While being a Digimon tamer, well, you just have one partner. Digimon would perhaps become a bit more popular, but ultimately it would never really carry anime as much as Pokemon did. It is possible that after season 2, Digimon may take a very different route, and it could still remain popular in that alternate timeline and perhaps even gain more popularity. But finally, at the end, I just don't see Digimon totally replacing Pokemon. Hence why I said that Digimon was very often compared to Pokemon, and not that it still is compared to Pokemon. Overall, anime may only catch a specific audience, and kids below a certain age, they would never really catch the anime fever, making animes less popular. Pokemon was a craze, and it didn't just last for a year. It is still ongoing until now, although to a lesser degree. Let's now talk about the games. Obviously, without Pokemon, we won't get Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, etc. until the heavily polarizing Pokemon Sword and Shield. This means that, luckily enough, there won't be the debate about whether to have all the Pokemon included or not, but on the other hand, these Pokemon, they would just never exist. Also, let's go back to Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow. Let's calculate the numbers of sales, and together all of them were sold to almost 50 million times. Gold and Silver, 23 million times, while Mario was only sold 18 million times. Sure, there are also other Mario games, but I'm talking about the most popular one. Game Boy would certainly continue to exist as a console, and Game Boy Color would be established as well, but with the introduction of Game Boy Advance, well, the numbers, they would plummet. The Gen 3 games combined were sold for 35 million times, while the second best title after Pokemon was sold only 5 million times. Moreover, a spin-off of the main Pokemon series was sold for over 2 million times. Thus, I predict that Nintendo would not only get into financial troubles, but the Nintendo company would never develop Nintendo DS, and if they do, well, there would surely be no other console after it. With Apple gaining popularity at the end 2000s, and PlayStation and Xbox being big competitors of Apple, I could see Apple introducing their own console. iTunes, the App Store, would have the infrastructure to serve as a Steam-like platform. The profit of the iPhones, iPods, etc. was more than enough, and Apple would see that a gap would exist in the console market. Being Microsoft's biggest competitor, it would just be very dumb to not try to enter into that market. Not only would the iTunes have small games for the iPhones, but also for their own console. A fictional name for Apple's console would be the iHandheld. People would connect over the internet and play against each other. They would not have the need to carry discs, cassettes or CDs with them, and I believe that in such a timeline, more independent game studios could profit from this, and we could then see the rise of other genres which I cannot predict. And also the RPG genre, it won't become so popular. And also in here I cannot really predict which genre would overtake the RPG genre or how it would evolve. There are also other consequences, such as what would happen with the trading cards. With Pokemon bringing and spreading trading cards, well, trading cards, they were more common than ever before. Without Pokemon existing, it is possible that Yu-Gi-Oh! Would never even gain huge popularity, and if it ever became popular, it would just be for a very short time and it would be something very niche. Other animes and mangas that would target the same audience as Pokemon may also be less popular because they just had no other anime which would open the door to them. So no Beyblade, for instance. This means that fighting animes such as Dragon Ball or also knockoffs of Sailor Moon, they would continuously be popular. But this popularity would then also fade away. Another consequence is that Japan's popularity could also decline or be a little bit smaller. Yes, Japan was seen as an advanced country in the 80s, but after that, in this alternate timeline, Japan would have less people who would be interested in Japan, its culture, due to the decline of animes and manga. Remember, many anime and manga fans, after growing up, gained interest in the Japanese language, Japanese culture, and they even moved to Japan, have families in there and they work. They are contributing members of that society. Many contacts in our world, be it in business, in politics, or in media, they exist because of the popularity of Pokemon, I would say. Sure, mangas and anime would still exist and still be somewhat popular, but at the end, US cartoons, they would be largely unrivaled, and as a result, the Japanese influence in pop culture, it would be much tinier. Pokemon Go or similar apps would also never have been established, and thus mobile games would perhaps not be that popular, but I don't think that it would change mobile games that much. Overall, Japan would be a loser in here. Nintendo may go bankrupt or switch into a very different genre as they did many times, and the US could have some profit from it, having more influence in the pop culture, and we could see the handheld console from Apple making huge sales. And that's where we leave it for now. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. Be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, support me also on Patreon, and join my forum, forum.planetalthistory.ga. Until next time on Planet Alt History.